Hi, welcome to another episode of Coffee Over Coffee, where we discuss coffee over coffee. Today in this episode, what I want to go over with you, what I want to explain to you is pH testing. We do a low acid coffee here at Mavericks. In fact, we have one of the lowest acid coffees. We have many of the lowest acid coffees in the entire United States. So what I wanted to do is go over with you an analytical report. If you've never seen these before, this is very important for a number of reasons. The first off is this is tested by a third-party lab. So I've been doing low acid coffee for many, many years. And I see a lot of claims online by people who say they produce low acid coffee. Now, there's no universal standard for low acid coffee, so just let me say that. So it could be slightly less acid than a high acid coffee. It would be lower acid. But what we like to do is just have things certified by the lab. For us, any coffee that's not 5.5 or greater, remember on a pH scale, coffee is measured on a pH scale. From 0 to 7 is acidity, 7 and above is base or alkaline. And so what we have here with coffee, most coffees are 4.7, 4.8, 4.9. And we want to have coffees that are a 5.5. Now that might seem like a lot. 7 being the neutral point, you're trying to get closer to 7 than to say 4.5 or 4.7 where most coffees in the United States are. But a 0.1 increase from a, say, a 4.7 to a 4.8 is an actual 10% reduction in acid. That's how that works. It's a logarithmic scale. It's really like exponential. Think of a Richter scale. Anyway, so that's nuts and bolts of how that works. I'll do a more detailed video in the future on that. But what I wanted to share with you is an analytical report. The reason why this is so important is this is done by a third-party lab. We do not influence this at all. We can't put our thumbs on the scale. We can't do anything like that. So what happens is we roast our coffee. The lab, we have Safe Food Alliance in Kingsburg. They actually come down, they pick up the coffee, their driver picks up the coffee. There's a complete chain of custody. And then they do the testing of the pH in their lab in a laboratory environment based on some standards here. I'll talk to you about that. And then we receive the coffee back. We receive the report back. That's kind of the nuts and bolts of it. So here it is. Here's our analytical report. This was dated about a week or two ago. Okay, and so what I want to call your attention to is this is pH by pH meter. Okay, so we are not using a piece of litmus paper. We're not using a pH meter that you can buy online. And I've had one before and I tested it. Okay. Those little litmus tests that you use, you can put your finger on it and it can impact the testing. So both of those can get you in the ballpark, but they're not really effective. And if you have a little testing meter yourself, is it calibrated? Do you know how to calibrate it? Do you have the solution necessary to calibrate it? I've had to do that with varying degrees of success. And also, if you have your coffee tested by a third-party lab, it prevents anybody putting their fingers on the scale or tempting you to do so. So we have this third-party lab. They come down, they pick up the coffee, and then they actually have a professional meter. This meter is very expensive. And it's done according to AOAC standard. And then they list the standard, 981.12. Now, AOAC, that's an international standard. So that standard, whether you're in China, whether you're in the United States, whether you're in Australia, it's an international standard that labs will use. And they're going to go to AOAC 98.12. Think of like a law, section 12434. Okay, well, it's a section of the international standard that governs the testing of whatever substance it is based on pH and their methods. That's essentially all that is. So they did one test here, and then the result. Now this result is the pH, what we call the pH score. Okay, so we're at 6.15. Now I mentioned our internal, what we would recommend to people as they call, and this is important because people have varying medical conditions, whether it's GERD, interstitial cystis, you name the condition, Barrett's esophagus, acid reflux, all sorts of different conditions that people may suffer from, that when they drink a high acid coffee, it really exacerbates that situation. It can become very painful for them. So they're very concerned about what it is that they're putting in their body. And so when we have this result, 6.15, now if I took a regular coffee, say like a big box chain or coffee in a can, their pH might be a 4.7, 4.8. We're at 6.15. So really we're at over 100% less acid in the coffee than those coffees. Now it may not make sense that things are 100% less, but in terms of acidity, that's how that works. Think about it this way: by weight, coffee is almost 8% acid. There is a lot of acid by weight. If you take a green coffee bean before it's roasted and you weigh it out, you have all sorts of acid, volatile acids, non-volatile acids, chlorogenic acids, caffeoylquinic acids. Those are the ones that are typically the problem. But anyway, you have acetic acid, all types of acids in the coffee. These acids actually lead to the taste. I'll do a video on those. But suffice it to say, back to this analytical report, this is our decaf dark French. It was tested by a professional meter at an AOAC 981.2 method. The resultant pH was a 6.15. We have analysis of the date. We have the signature of the microbiologist, the manager of the facility that did that test. We get these tests done regularly on all of our coffees. This is so you know that the coffee that you're drinking is independently certified. So if you have one of those conditions that you can be very troubled by having a very high acid coffee, or you just don't want to have the acid in the diet, we actually go to the extent to get these tested, get the coffees tested, and then we take these reports and then we post them on our website. So you can go to maverickscoffee.com and you can find our section. It will say certification and analytics, and you'll see all of our organic certifications there as well. And then you'll see these analytic reports that we put up periodically after our coffees are tested, just so you know for sure what the pH score is going to be for that particular coffee. I hope that's helpful to you. That's coffee over coffee. We're talking about pH today, and I hope you learned something about pH and how that you can know for sure that your coffee is been tested and certified low acid. And one other thing, if you're currently drinking someone else's coffee, another coffee provider, and they say that it's low acid, great. We're not asking you to do anything. I would request that you think about something though. Is this posted on their website? Have they had an independent third party actually documented the fact that it is low acid? Has that been done? Trust but verify. Have a great day. Take care.